Hi. I'm your goddess Nesca, here with Trucker Man. We're reacting to...
Why are you moving your hands when you know it?
I can't help it! I'm emotive, okay? I wish I could move my VTuber hands.
Get 3D models whenever we get big enough. Darkest YouTube videos, number 8. Starting off, I think the first chapter is the Manchu Shoto tsunami footage. Ooh.
Oh, tsunami footage. Ooh.
It was 2:46 p.m. when the ground began to shake.
Oh, this is the earthquake that happened last year in Japan.
Oh, so that's pretty...
I've seen even more videos of that one that happened in, I think it's Thailand.
Uh-huh.
Where people were on top of that hotel.
Oh, yeah, with the water sloshing.
Like, the people were just chilling in, like, above ground, like a top floor pool, and all of a sudden it just starts...
sloshing around.
Real bad.
Oofa. We go, Nick Crowley.
Can you just imagine that?
For residents of Anagawa, Japan, earthquakes were nothing new, but this one was different.
Oh, that's scary.
I've never felt, like, I felt earthquakes before, like, randomly when I was living in Joplin, I felt one, but it was like this little tremor and that was it.
I've never experienced, hell, I've never experienced a tornado in my whole life.
I've never seen one. I've lived in Kansas.
I lived in Texas.
It carried with it a violence that none of the locals had ever felt before, and by the time the shaking had stopped, everyone in the city seemed to be left in a momentary state of shock. This was especially true for the nearly 160 Chinese workers and students that had recently moved to the area, with most having never experienced any earthquake, let alone one of this magnitude. Of these workers were a tight-knit group of 20 women who had recently been hired.
Yeah. If this is your first time experiencing something like this, how well prepared would you be for something like this? If you've never experienced it before?
Oh, especially if we go to Japan and something like that happened. Oh, fuck.
Ooh.
Hired as trainees.
First, I would be hiding underneath my bed. If you think you're safe there.
At a company called Sato Susan, a company that sold fresh seafood. And having been at work at the time of the quake, they frantically ran out of the building and stood in the street desperately trying to figure out what to do next, unaware of the fact that the real horrors were still yet to come. In Japan, it's not just the earthquakes you have to worry about, but the tsunamis that often follow. And usually, the bigger the earthquake, the bigger the wave.
So it's a double impact there. You got the shaking, so you're not safe in the building, and then you got a rush of flood waters.
Yeah.
So you're not safe outside.
A tsunami's not just a wave and it goes. It's a wall of water that just goes.
And sweeps you away.
And given that Anagawa was right on the sea, and Sato Susan was directly on the shoreline, these women were now standing directly in the path of an impending disaster. Thankfully, their boss, Mitsudo Sato, was well aware of what was to come, and quickly he yelled to the women to seek higher ground. But given their unfamiliarity with the area, Sato knew that he would have to be the one to lead them there. The group readily listened, and they quickly followed Sato as he led them up a set of stairs on a nearby hill, where they eventually reached a shrine that overlooked Anagawa and the sea. It was the highest point in the area, and should keep them safe from what would likely be a massive influx of water. And sure enough, as they neared the top, Sato's fears were already coming true. As the sea had drastically retreated, it was now beginning to push forward, and things were only going to get worse from here. But despite understanding this, it wasn't a deterrent for Sato, as once he deemed the altitude safe enough for this group of women, he then turned around and began to walk back down the hill, towards the slowly flooding city.
Why?
The girls yelled at him, asking where he was going, which is when he revealed that down below in his home in Anagawa were his wife and his daughter, who were now directly in the path of this unfolding disaster, and he was going to save them.
Oh no! I'm sorry, but shouldn't his priorities have been to get his wife and daughter with before taking care of these random ladies?
Where he lived and where these people were two different places too.
He couldn't just leave he could have just said, hey, go up that way. He could have pointed them in the direction or something, because
No, they said how they didn't know the area, so he had to lead them up.
oh no.
The girl screamed out to him, begging him not to go, as things had already become incredibly dangerous, but he didn't so much as turn his head as he stepped down onto the street and disappeared.
Every year, the amount of new volcanoes document and exists erupting every year, increasing tornadoes records are breaking every few. It's the end of the world as you know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as you know it. And I feel fine.
From their view. And it was at this time that one of those girls standing high atop the hill began to record.
Oh my god.
Darkest videos.
8.
Hey, I remember that.
All my life, family has been super important to me. I love my family, but I also realized I don't know much about them, at least outside of my even knew existed. It was awesome to find pictures of my team, and after graduation, he was called to serve in World War II. The footage shows that the shoreline was no more, as the water had inundated the entire area as it slowly crept its way deeper and deeper into the city streets. The women were understandably in a panic, trying to make sense of this ordeal that they were now given a front row seat to. And as they record, we can hear them desperately calling out for Sato, but at no point do we see him. We just know that he's down there, somewhere. And as the desperation in their pleas increases, so too does the fury of the water.
That man's a hero. He was more concerned about the well-being of strangers than his own, even his family's life, though. That's depressing, but sheesh. Wow.
They could only watch as Anagawa as they knew it was completely eviscerated.
What can you do with something like that? And hope that you're not in the path of it.
And by this point, they realized that there was now essentially no hope for Sato. It was at this time that the women realized that despite already being at a considerable height, it still might not be enough, and so they ran even higher up the hill, desperately trying to get out of the path of this water.
Yeah, I wouldn't just be standing anywhere close to that. I would just be constantly going as high as I could possibly get. Oh, I wonder if it will show the strange camouflage creature in the video.
And as they did so, they noticed something down below.
Him. What?
Standing on a rooftop in the middle of this massive tsunami was Mitsuro Sato. The building that he stood on was once a full 2 stories off the ground, but was now just a few inches above the surface of the water.
How?
Why is he walking so casual?
The women again call out to him, this time even more frantically, but at this point, it was no use. And when the camera is taken off Sato for just a split second, we can hear just from the women's reaction the exact moment that he swept away.
The way he was walking so casual, makes me wonder if he jumped.
I don't know.
Because... No, let me finish. Because if his wife and daughter... Yeah, losing them, he probably... Yeah.
The recording stops shortly after and restarts minutes later, revealing that the streets where the women had been standing just moments before were now fully underwater, and the buildings that once stood around them were now reduced to nothingness. In front of them was a sea of death, and had Mitsudo Sato not led them up that hill, then all of these women would have certainly been a part of it. The date was March 11th, 2011, a day where Japan had been hit by its most devastating earthquake ever, with it ringing in at a magnitude 9.0, which in turn caused the nation's worst ever tsunami, as that day, 19,759 people would lose their lives.
Yeah.
With Mitsudo Sato being one of them. But against all odds, his wife and daughter were not part of that death toll, as it's been reported that they were later found alive and unharmed. The devastation that occurred that day is incomprehensible, and all the footage of this...
Okay. Do you think he thought that they were, so that's why he decided to do, or was he just in
Maybe he was just walking casually because he was just trying to assess what was going on. I mean, if you panic, you're gonna flip anyway.
But how did he just go from walking to automatically going under like that?
Well, we don't.
Because it did. I know we don't see it, but isn't it? How did the water get even higher than what it was that quickly? Couldn't he have been able to?
It could have been another shockwave. It could have been another wave.
Oh.
Disaster could warrant a place in this video, especially the footage of Anagawa, as you can see what it looked like before, during, and after. But what I found so interesting about this was all throughout this disaster were stories like Sato's, a man who risked his life to save 20 women that he hardly knew, and a man who gave his life trying to save his family, walking directly into the path of the worst natural disaster in modern Japanese history, all in an attempt to save the ones that he loved. And I honestly find it quite beautiful that afterwards, these women adamantly shared his story and made sure that the world forever remembered Mitsudo Sato as the hero that he was. And of those 160 Chinese migrants who worked in the area, it was later reported that not a single one of them perished, which speaks volumes about the people of Anagawa, who so readily put others' lives before their own.
Man, this is why Japan's like one of the best places ever. The people there have integrity, have good hearts.
And they get Johnny Somali.
Those...
The Man in the Garage is the next chapter. What is this?
Fire marshal is investigating a blaze in Georgetown. 2 people found dead inside the home, and so far it's not known how the fire started.
Oh, fire.
It was just past 5:30 a.m. on the 17th of February 2021 when residents of a small neighborhood in Georgetown, Ontario were woken by the sound of sirens blaring. One man frantically grabbed his cell phone and rushed outside to record the unfolding scene, where he was met with a horrific sight.
Fire.
His neighbor's home was fully engulfed in flames.
Oh.
It must have happened quickly, as by the time rescue workers even arrived on the scene...
Dude, that kind of... just little notey poo-poo. Were you there that day when our neighbor's house was their tree caught on fire because of their Christmas lights?
Yeah, I'm the one who looked out the window and saw all the fire hydrant.
Luckily, we have a fire department that's like literally just across the block, so they took care of that fire quickly.
Let's see, Japan sits upon unstable landmass. There are videos online showing its outer coastal rim slowly sinking into the sea every few years since 2011. Huh. A tsunami.
Is that kind of like California? Is it California or Florida that's sinking?
California.
There was already little hope of saving the house, or any of its occupants. It would take hours before that blaze was finally quelled, revealing the charred devastation inside, as firefighters would find the remains of 56-year-old Christina Rirak and 59-year-old Andrew Rirak within the home's garage. The cause of this fire was initially unknown, but quickly the situation was deemed suspicious when experts determined that the fire had started as a result of some sort of explosion that had happened within the garage where the couple's bodies were found.
Huh. Why were they in the garage in the first place?
This was later confirmed by security footage obtained from a neighbor who lived across the street, capturing the moments when it suddenly ignited around 5:27 a.m. There was clearly something off with this case, and things only became more sinister.
I'm gonna go with it. He killed his wife, poured gas, lit it on fire, and blew himself up.
I'm gonna say love or suicide.
Following the autopsies of Andrew and Christina, which revealed that they hadn't actually died in that fire, and instead, both of them had been stabbed to death.
Oh, never
with
mind.
Andrew also
Homicide.
being badly beaten.
Oh.
This fire wasn't started to kill them. It was started to cover up their murder. And it did a good job of it too, as the scene was now left completely destroyed, with very little evidence being left behind. But there was something else investigators thought to check. That's security footage. The camera had been facing the garage where all of this carnage seemed to have happened, and so they thought maybe if they looked back far enough, it could at the very least show what had led up to this brutal attack. And so they rewound that footage, going back hours and hours, during all of which the garage had remained perfectly still, until they got all the way back to 6:42 of the day prior, February 16th.
Car going into the garage. Is that their car, or is that someone else's?
It has to be their car. The garage door's open.
The film showed the moments that the couple had arrived home together inside of Christina's car, which Andrew had been driving that night, as he pulled uneventfully into the garage.
Damn, stop dying over there.
Pollen.
Yeah.
Sciatex003 is now following.
Thank you for following us. Yeah. What's up? Would you rather have infinite bacon but no video games, or infinite video games but no infinite games but no wait?
How does the infinite games but no games work?
This was the last time
I don't
this
like
couple was seen
bacon.
alive on camera, which on its own is disturbing enough. But as it turns out, there was something far more unsettling about this footage,
Yeah, I saw the.
as it revealed the
there was a
fact
shadow
that
guy.
Christina and Andrew weren't alone.
Right there. Right on the side there. There he is. And see him walking through the snow. Ooh, yep.
Oh yeah.
Oh no.
What?
Oh, that's horrible.
What drugs do I have to take to get a voice like that, by the way? What, like me?
Watch a lot of anime throughout your life. That's probably how. That's horrific.
The footage showed a tall figure, its features completely shrouded in darkness, almost as if it were a shadow, with this figure lying in wait out of sight on the side of the house,
Man,
until right after
how scary would that be? You and I come home, we go through our driveway, and just some guy just walks around and comes in to your garage.
Yeah. Even though I don't open the garage hardly, but still.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying that's
Andrew pulls the
scary.
car into the garage, when this person slips in behind them. It's impossible to say for sure if the couple noticed this person or not, but it appears that they likely didn't, as they both start to exit the vehicle, to which the figure then ducks
sure you'd
down
notice it
in an
from
attempt
that
to
side.
avoid detection.
No.
Until the garage door begins to slowly close.
How you not notice on that side?
Either Christina
don't-
or Andrew would make it out of that garage alive, as just seconds after this
He knows
footage,
only one person out of the car.
Oh.
So he snuck his way in.
they both would be brutally murdered by this unidentified person.
Oh.
The footage is terrifying and speaks to that innate fear in most of us, the fear of being followed, of being watched, and attacked in the moments where we least expect it. It's paranoia-inducing, and made even more off-putting by the fact that this clearly seemed to be premeditated. Whoever this was knew their schedule and had been waiting for them to arrive home, in a place where they knew they wouldn't be seen.
I wonder if it's gonna turn, if we even get to find out who this guy is. He has to have been like maybe a family member, maybe. That's my guess. Over 20 years old ago, an elderly man was found brutally unalived in his own home. Police were called to check up on him by
relatives.
But by this point, their motivation was as unknown as their identity. Following the discovery of this footage, bits and pieces were released to the press in order to get the public's help in identifying this unknown assailant. It represented a rare instance of a killer being clearly caught on camera right before committing a crime. But that's also what made this case so frustrating, as despite the video capturing this person,
It's just shadows.
none of their features were discernible at all.
Just so far away.
Unsurprisingly, the footage didn't bring in any relevant leads, but it at the very least showed investigators that whoever this person was knew the couple, due to its obvious premeditation. Though when looking into both Andrew and Christina, it was clear that neither of them really had any enemies in their life, with the exception of one.
Uh-oh.
Harrison Brown was a 27-year-old employee at a company called Rogue Transportations, of which Christina happened to be the vice president of operations, and during his time there, Harrison was known to be abrasive and combative, with Christina often having to be the one to reprimand him, leading to Harrison resenting her.
Oh, disgruntled coworker.
Yeah, you don't take that shit home.
Oh, no.
It isn't
see
clear
what's
how
going
police were
now.
tipped off about this strained working relationship, but they had somehow grown suspicious enough of Harrison to pay his home a visit, and what they found inside showed that this resentment he had towards Christina had actually morphed into a twisted obsession. Inside, police found satellite images of the Rear-X home, along with the software on the man's computer and cell phone that showed that on the 12th of February, he had secretly attached a tracking device to Christina's car. And he'd
Exquisite?
been tracking her movements for days, which is precisely how he knew when she would be.
Yeah.
How
He's
the
guilty.
heck did he get... How much does a tracking device cost, I wonder?
Well, hello, Apple AirPods. They're only like a couple. They're not that much, and they're tiny. And who's really, if you go underneath the car real quick and slap on something that's magnetic, are you gonna check it every day?
Point. It's not going to be noticeable, especially if it's like on the underside of the car. Oh, no. Okay. He was found in pieces. Oh, and he lived in a dense suburb neighborhood with lots of neighbors who did not hear anything. This happened in the city where I live. Wow. I hope someone got found for that. That's horrible, too. Yeah.
Arriving home. And as if this revelation wasn't damning enough, they would also find a broken knife in his garage that contained trace amounts of Christina's blood. It was obvious what Harrison had done, and when confronted with this evidence, there was nothing more he could say other than the truth. So he admitted he had grown a hatred for Christina because of the way that she had treated him at work, and he decided that he needed to get his revenge. That's when he purchased this tracking device and began obsessing over her movements, studying them before finding the
Wow.
perfect time and place to strike. And on February 16th, he waited outside the Rear-X home and snuck into their garage before attacking and killing them both.
Now, if only he could put that much, what's the word? Effort into his job.
After the assault, Harrison would leave the home, where he began to grow paranoid about being caught, and so he returned to the house the very next morning to start that fire, with the hopes being that the blaze would cover up his tracks. Though thankfully,
You
this didn't
dum-dum.
work, and after pleading guilty to 2 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of arson, Harrison Brown would be sentenced to life in prison.
Yay!
Chapter 3.
What's our next horror tale?
Officers
That is why you got
Festers.
to be careful who you mess with, because you never know what state their mind is in, what they are capable of doing. Yeah, I totally agree. You never know with people. You can try to be nice and friendly, though, but even that won't save you. They'll find something to hate you for.
It's the eve of Thanksgiving, 2015. Police Officer Patrick Feaster sits in his cruiser parked alongside the road in the town of Paradise, California, waiting for his first action of this uncharacteristically quiet
I'm already seeing 2 red flags. Police officer, California.
night. His car was facing the direction of a well-known local cantina, which patrons were known to drive away from under the influence. And sure enough, as the clock approached midnight, the calmness around Feaster would be shattered by the sight of a car speeding out of the restaurant's parking lot. The car went unseen by Feaster's dashcam, but not by Feaster himself, as he took off, doing his best to catch up with the car that was now speeding down the road. And within a few seconds, he
Drunk
does.
driving.
As the car slowly comes into frame for the
Be right back. Sorry about that.
Yeah, oh, I was gonna call her back, but well,
We'll call her back. We're almost
I'll
done.
call her later. Yeah, just turn the phone on silence. Go ahead.
first time. Inside that vehicle was 26-year-old Andrew Thomas and his ex-wife, 23-year-old Darian Aaron. Andrew had been drinking heavily that night and was well over the legal limit, with his driving showing as much as he failed to pull over once Feaster approached him, resulting in a police chase that would only end up lasting just a few seconds.
Oh.
Oh. Oh, he flipped the car. Oh. Is that what I think it is?
Exactly what you think it is.
Is it splats?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Copy, roll over TC, east of Black Hall.
As Andrew would drive his car directly into a median, causing the SUV to flip over violently before coming to a halt on its side.
Oh.
In that instant, Darian was ejected from the vehicle, being thrown straight through the windshield and landing onto the asphalt, where, despite still being alive, her injuries were likely unsurvivable. But Andrew, on the other hand,
Something nice. Thank you for the $2.
I don't know why Stream Element is,
Not making a noise.
but yeah, thank you.
Like Canadian.
and was still inside the vehicle, and he seemed to have been left relatively unharmed. As perhaps being boosted by adrenaline, he quickly tried to crawl his way out of the car in a desperate attempt to check on Darian, with Officer Feaster's dashcam capturing the entire ordeal. Though just as Andrew attempted to do so, we see Feaster step into the frame.
Okay, so is that his girlfriend?
Yep.
Oh my.
I saw this.
Is
Ugh.
like you actually saw it uncensored? Poor lady. I'm glad you don't drink.
Where he suddenly draws his gun, and without saying a single word, fires 2 shots at Andrew,
Oh
with one of the bullets
my!
appearing to strike him, causing his body to go limp as he falls back into the car.
The
It
fuck?
happened in a literal instant, so fast that it's clear Feaster had most likely accidentally discharged his weapon, as there was no attempt at communication before the shot was fired, with Andrew clearly posing no risk to him, as both of his hands were being used to hoist himself up.
Just
Then
when,
why?
just when you think it can't get any worse.
What was the even? Did he have? I don't care. He should literally be too confuzzled to be any threat. Why did the police officer even if it was an accident while he's shooting, why did he take out his gun? Why was that his first
From the footage, this all seems to be a horrible accident, and one that Feaster seemed to recognize right away as he rushed up to the car, pointing his flashlight at the man that he had just shot, staring at him for over 10 seconds, trying to make sense of what he had just done, before he finally snaps out of it and uses his radio to call for backup. Though this is when this already dark video starts to become much more disturbing.
Oh.
I've got an unresponsive female. I got a male in the car refusing to get out.
When Feaster makes this call, he never mentions the shooting, and instead he states that the driver was refusing to get out of the vehicle.
Cover his own ass.
Does he not realize he's got a damn camera on him?
This guy's dumb.
Officer Farva?
Officer Barbara.
This is then followed by Feaster walking away from the man and pointing his flashlight to the ground, almost as if he was looking for something.
Copy. Give your cross on Black Olive.
Pearson.
Copy. Black Olive and Pearson.
With some theorizing that he was looking for his shell casings. Though right then, another officer arrives on the scene and begins to survey the wreckage.
You dumb fuck.
Just her? No, there's a male in the car refusing to get out.
Where, again, Feaster says that Andrew was refusing to get out of the car, making no mention.
Oh yeah, don't mention you shot the guy for no reason. Wow, these are the kind of police that we need out of our polices.
Yep.
How can you fuck up that badly? Or did he have some kind of vendetta towards this guy? Or was he just a corrupt cop? Who knows? I hope they give us some kind of insight.
Of the fact that he had just shot him. It's clear at this point what Feaster was trying to do. He was trying to cover up his accident. But this suddenly became more difficult when Andrew started to speak.
Okay, we got one. He's refusing to get out. Get out of the car, sir. Not shot, sir. Get out of the car.
Asshole.
Andrew Thomas was still alive and had muttered to Feaster that he had been shot, but even to his face, Feaster denies it. Shortly after, Andrew then tries to tell the other cop what had happened.
Sir, get out of the car. The car is still on, and I don't want you to get hurt.
There's no innocent person in this story. Maybe the woman. I don't know if she was. She wasn't the one driving, I would assume. And I'm not sure if she was drunk. She's the only real victim here.
Yeah, I was right there. I saw it.
Multiple times, because this guy's so incompetent at his job. He literally is Officer Bar Brady from South Park.
The cop did not shoot you.
But understandably, this other cop wasn't believing him, as surely Feaster would have said something at
There
this
you go.
point. And so, the minutes start to pass. And after 5 full minutes, Feaster continues processing the scene like nothing had happened, with the other officer being left to theorize that Andrew must have been seriously injured and was likely in a state of shock, which is why he was making all of these strange claims about being shot.
He may be hurt in there. Yeah, I know he is. He's in shock at the very least.
From here, the footage cuts, and we're only left with the audio from that same officer's body cam, as he attempts to get more information from Andrew.
Oh look, we got thanking for sexual this time. More like Officer Bum.
I don't know why that was so sexual.
Sir, I need you to talk to me so I know you're okay. Sir, take a
you
look at me.
know he's not fucking okay, asshole.
Did you bump your head?
But by this point, he had gone completely silent.
Yep.
10 minutes later, the footage then cuts back on, this time to another officer's body cam, which shows that an ambulance had now finally arrived on the scene, with medics first directing their attention to Darian, who was in the worst shape, as she would tragically be pronounced dead shortly after. But despite all of these first responders on the scene, none of them had any idea that the man inside that vehicle had just been shot, and shot by one of their colleagues. And in these moments, Andrew was slowly losing his life as each minute passed. It would take...
Okay, I'm conflicted here. I feel bad for the guy, but at the same time, I don't, because he was the one who was being stupid and drink driving in the first place, and he killed his girlfriend. So, is this poetic justice, or is this just...
incompetence all the way around.
Take 11 full minutes before Feaster finally confessed.
the scene. Manny with me. We're going over to the canteen to find out if this guy...
Someone realized he can't fool everything.
saying that he might have shot the man, but he wasn't sure. And immediately
If
after...
only you had said that sooner. I bet you he's probably not going to make it. You think?
Probably, yeah.
For saying this,
Oh my God, are you serious?
You're fired.
the recording is
Maybe
stopped,
jailed.
and the footage comes to an end. Sure enough, in that moment, Officer Patrick Feaster had in fact shot Andrew Thomas, with a bullet striking him directly in the neck.
Yeah.
And the reason why he wasn't getting out of his vehicle was because that gunshot had left him fully...
Oh, no. I'm not giving justice to anything the cop did. I'm just saying, was it poetic justice that he ended up getting shot by this crooked cop for killing his girlfriend for drunk driving? I'm saying everyone's in wrong here except for the girl.
He was paralyzed from the neck down from that gunshot.
paralyzed from the neck down. His condition was awful, and made worse by the length of time that it took for him to receive proper treatment. And despite fighting for weeks, Andrew Thomas would lose his life less than 1 month later due to that gunshot wound. Afterwards, Feaster admitted that he did fire his gun, but claimed that in the moment he wasn't actually sure if he had hit Andrew, but many found
In no way am I supporting what the cop did. Even though the guy was a drunk driver, there was no reason for this. It was just blatant,
Murder.
yeah, it was blatant murder. Incompetent murder. What is the word I'm looking for? Would you say it was accidental murder, or what did
Manslaughter.
Thank you. The driver was in the wrong, but he didn't deserve to get gunned down like a dog,
especially after he was in that accident. Exactly. The cop fucked up. Yes, exactly.
this hard to believe, as his gun clearly goes off while he's pointing it at Andrew, and he clearly gets a good view of him immediately after the fact. Not to mention the fact that Andrew literally told him over and over again that he was shot. But for many, by far the most incriminating moment was when Feaster appeared to be looking for his shell casings.
And the fact that he was trying to cover his own incompetence like that. Oh, I hope, please, endings say that he went to prison or something.
And because of his actions, Officer Patrick Feaster would be found guilty of manslaughter and receive
There
a
it
prison
is.
sentence of 180 days.
What? Excuse?
Days? I was about to say months or years.
A decision that was heavily contested but ultimately upheld. And while no one is defending Andrew Thomas's decision to drink and drive that night, Feaster's use of deadly force and his blatant attempt at covering it up make this footage harrowing nonetheless.
Yeah. Only days, huh? I would have at least did... Let's see.
20 years at least.
Yeah, hey, you read my mind. I was thinking 22, but I was debating if that might have been a little too much. But at the same time, the fact that he was covering it up, yeah.
Do this for real, bro. I don't got no problem with giving
Justice
back, man.
for the
I'm the only one out here with a show
driver.
that's
If he didn't get gunned down and murdered, would have been years in prison and having to live with the guilt of being responsible for his girlfriend's death. Yep.
Young QC gives back.
giving back, you feel me? And I got proof to show it.
It's May 2013.
Chapter 4.
23-year-old Quamaine Wilson arrives at his local bank in Chicago, Illinois, to deposit $20,000 cash, which he planned on giving out to groups of his most adoring fans.
About to go get this $1,000 out for the fans, man. Really, I'm gonna take out $20,000, man. Just to show people, you feel me? I'm on a whole different level with this.
To this point, Quamaine
Okay, number 1. How do you have that much money? Number 2. How are you giving away that much money, and who counts as a fan? Can I have the
What
money?
the fuck? Yeah, what the fuck indeed?
He had carved out a respectable following on his YouTube channel, where he acted in a series called The Nick Story.
One more word out your mouth, and that's your ass. That's your life. I'm gonna take it myself and put it in my graveyard with the rest of them.
Along with posting music he made under the name Young QC.
Out her song, but not until she's.
Hey, it's one of those.
Oh, thank you.
Hey, we're back around town with strippins'.
Thank you for the Canadian 4.
What's a cute little thing? It looks like a Squirtle mixed with a dinosaur. Squirtle mixed with a come on. What's that new Pokemon's name? Fuecoco. Squirtle mixed with Fuecoco.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Based on his viewership alone, his success was apparent, and he wasn't shy about showing off the wealth that he claimed to have accrued as a result of it, posting photos and videos of himself flaunting large amounts of cash across his social media pages.
Well.
But this video was by far his most boastful yet, as he would take that $20,000 and throw it into the air for all of his fans to fight over.
Didn't Kaisenek did this, like, he was going to give away a gaming PC, and this happened in New York, and there was a riot because of it?
Oh.
Is it Kaisenek or I Show Speed that was doing that?
What a stupid thing to do. Yeah. I like how it appears he's being generous and nice, but he's doing this in a way that's just gonna cause a riot.
With Quamain clearly relishing in the opportunity to show off his riches, despite the fact that behind the scenes, things weren't quite as they seemed.
Uh-oh.
The truth was, Quamain had actually earned very little from his channel despite its viewership.
Oh, is he a thief?
He's been fraud.
Money embezzlement?
With this being on account of his videos containing copywritten music, and the fact that he only had a dozen or so uploads.
Oh yeah!
In fact,
Yeah, that's true! You can't get monetized for music. He's oh look, there's another one.
You want to do the moans that the eagles up to... I guess it'll equal up to it.
It equals up.
Ouch.
Oh, no. Well, I lost my train of thought.
We're talking about copyright music. Like when you...
Oh, yeah. I can't get monetized for when I do karaoke. That's my brain. The bones.
in fact, his social media flexing had started well before he even made his first video, as in reality, all of this money was coming straight from his mother, Yolanda.
Oh, no.
Okay, it's even worse.
Taking your mother's money. Like her life insurance or like, ooh.
Her life savings.
Oh.
Homes. Having started a successful business in Chicago, Yolanda made a great living for herself and Quamain. And being her only son, Quamain was given just about anything he could have asked for. She would buy him designer clothes, jewelry, and even the Mustang seen in this video. But for Quamain, it never seemed to be enough. He wanted to achieve a life of fame and riches, and he used his mother's finances to sell the illusion that he already had, asking her
that he was popular. He wanted to be popular.
Small brat.
He didn't understand the value of $1, basically.
Yeah.
Her again and again to purchase him things that could help him sell this dream, until one day, it all came crashing down, when Yolanda would tragically lose her life. Just like that, Quamain's entire support system had fallen out beneath his feet, leaving him without his mother and without the provider who was funding his entire life. But strangely, this didn't seem to stop his lavish online presence. In fact, his spending only seemed to increase after this, as this footage...
He did not report her death and is doing some kind of fraud here, I'm guessing?
Maybe. Or he's spending all the money she had left.
I'm not sure. Her life insurance, maybe?
...of him giving away money to fans actually took place after the death of his mother, which became extremely off-putting for law enforcement, as Yolanda hadn't simply passed away, and instead, she had been brutally murdered.
Oh, it's going to get worse. Oh no.
Quamain had learned something shortly before Yolanda's passing, that not only were his mother's savings entirely willed to him, but she had also taken out 2 life insurance policies in which he was the sole beneficiary. And despite
it's much worse. He should have just did fraud or something. He killed his own mother for her life insurance.
Y'all having a good day, because we're running it.
Happy Easter.
Yolanda giving him anything that he could have asked for, it seemed that by this point, Quamain had simply grown tired of having to ask. And so, on September 2nd, 2012, he would offer his friend Eugene Spencer $3,500 to kill his own mother.
Oh.
Eugene accepted the offer, and that night he would travel to the apartment of Yolanda Holmes late at night, where he entered her room and shot her multiple times as she slept. At the time, her boyfriend had been sleeping next to her, and despite jumping up and doing his best to fight off the attacker, Eugene would eventually beat him unconscious before fleeing the scene. Eugene would call Quamain immediately after the attack to tell him that the job was done, but rather than feeling any sort of guilt, Quamain instead had no emotion, and he simply stated, Make sure
the bitch is dead. Wow! Someone who loves you so much and you treat them like this. Is this, would this be under psychopathic?
Yeah, sociopath.
Yeah.
The bitch is dead. And so Eugene went back up to that unit, this time brandishing a knife, and repeatedly stabbed Yolanda.
Why?
Until he was absolutely certain she was gone. And with that, Quamain Holmes was a rich man, and it only cost him the life of his own mother.
Wow! I'd never heard of something so disgusting in my life. I can never imagine how someone can be like that and do such a thing to their own mother, no less. And she was a loving mother. She gave him everything, and he decides it's not enough and he wants more, so he wants her life. That's what he wanted. He wanted her life.
For a moment, the crime had worked perfectly. The police were left with no concrete leads as to who might have killed Yolanda, and the public largely believed that it was her boyfriend, whom Eugene had knocked unconscious. But no one even thought to look at Quamain. And recognizing that he was in the clear, his behavior grew brazen almost immediately.
Quamain Wilson lost his mother to gun violence.
That boy needs to be put under the jail.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, bury him under the jail.
On
Don't even
November
let him
14th.
in it.
My mother, she was a neighborhood woman.
Me and my mom had arguments in the past, but I would never think of killing her over it. Yeah, same here. Like, it's not like when my dad passed that I wasn't sad or anything. It's just for whatever reason I couldn't cry. It's not like I wasn't upset about him dying. It's just to this day, I don't know, it's probably some kind of weird trauma I have, maybe. Well, anyway.
A guy entered a home, and murdered her, just to steal.
As he went on TV to talk about his mother's murder, where he peddled the theory to the public that this was some sort of botched robbery, all the while he showed no emotion. He wouldn't even wait a full week before depositing the money, as he took out $90,000 within just the first few days, and immediately began showing it off to his followers. And
$90,000 could pay off my house. $90,000 could...
I also
in this footage where he gave...
I don't care, $90,000. That's still not a lot. Especially when you're throwing it around like water.
away that $20,000, throwing it into the air as if it meant nothing to him. Every cent of that had come from the death of his own mother, a death in which he was entirely responsible for. It would take over a full year for Quamain and Eugene to be caught, with police largely being tipped off by his online antics.
I don't... To be honest, I don't know. Like, again, it's not like I wasn't sad or anything. It's just...
He's talking about him.
Not even a single... I'm not sure if he's talking about him or what I was saying earlier.
But, no, he's talking about him. He's not even crying about it.
Oh, okay. I mean, I was really upset and stuff, and probably still kind of am. Maybe I'm in some kind of, what's the word? Denial? Maybe I'm still in a denial phase. I was talking about the killer. Okay, cool.
And in the end, Eugene was given a 100-year prison sentence, while Quamain received 99 years, with his legacy now permanently defined by his creation of one of YouTube's darkest videos.
That's disgusting. Well, sorry to end it off at a
dark moment.
Dark moment.